Greetings, my name is Kerry and welcome back to my channel. So you may notice a few changes. New little intro there, new camera angle. I have a new phone with a much better camera on it. So hopefully you'll see a little improvement in the quality of my videos, hopefully, can't promise. And so I thought it was appropriate with all these new things to also introduce a new series on my channel. I seem to be introducing a lot of new series at the moment, but that's fine because I like to vary up my content a little bit and not just produce the same sort of stuff all the time. So I thought this would be something that could be quite fun. You'll have seen from the title, I'm calling it 5 Faves. For this series I'm going to be picking a topic and telling you my 5 favourite things in that topic. So it's mainly going to be bookish things. For example, today we've got craft books, thinking maybe one on cookery books or theology books. It's the sort of books that I don't talk about very often, so it will be more non-fiction. It won't tend to be novels, although I might do some genre-based things at some point. But I am reserving the right to expand this out into completely different realms, so it might be I might go into movies sometimes, or I don't know, jigsaw puzzles or other random things, I don't know. But today we are sticking with books and we are doing my 5 favourite craft books that I own. These are not going to be in any particular order, so it's not like I'm going from my least favourite to my most favourite. They're just 5 books that I really like and have benefited from having in my life. So I enjoy crafting, particularly do a lot of knitting and crochet. We've been trying to expand out into sort of various other types of craft as well, but those are my main ones. I've got a bit of a mixed bag of books here to tell you about, so without further ado I'm just going to go into them and in no particular order. So the first one I have to talk about here is Lovely Things to Make for Girls of Slender Means by, I think that's Eithne, you pronounce that, Farry? So this was given to me for my birthday a couple of years ago. I just had a flick through and I don't think I've actually ever made anything from it, but I love the concept of it. So this is all to do with upcycling and recycling and reusing things. So it's got some really lovely ideas in here of things that you can make quite easily from things lying around, like little fabric flowers. It's got a few patterns for clothing items that are just adapted from other clothes, which is a sort of, when I do sewing, it's a sort of sewing that I'm more likely to do. So like little skirts and things. And I don't do a lot of sewing, it's something that I want to get into more, but I think I'll probably start in sewing with adapting clothes that I already own or other things. So like some of these you just need sort of rectangles of fabric, so I have some random big pieces of fabric that I've never done anything with, and this is the sort of thing I can use to help me come up with those things. And one of the things I really like in it that I really want to make, I say I love crochet, and there's this pattern for making a jumper out of granny squares, and part of the idea of that is that you don't actually have to be able to make the granny squares yourself. You can buy a granny square blanket and then use that and adapt it. But I actually think at some point I'm just going to make a load of granny squares and try and make a jumper out of them because I really like that idea. The other thing I really like about this book is it's split into seasons, so it's got patterns for autumn, winter, spring, summer. So it's really easy to sort of flick to the season that you're in and try and find a quick craft project, because they're all quite quick projects as well. They're all meant to be things that you can make cheaply and easily. So this is a really lovely little book that I am hoping to make lots of things out in the future, because I haven't really made anything out of it yet. On a similar note, the next book is another one that I haven't actually made anything out of yet, but I really plan to soon, and that is called Chic and Simple Sewing. So this again has a variety of patterns, different outfits, different clothes, and what I like about this one as well is it has a little marker in the corner to tell you how difficult the pattern is, which would be really useful for me because I'm fairly new to sewing. I don't do a lot of it. I've actually had this book for a while, and one of the reasons why this book is quite special to me is because I was given some money for my birthday and I used it to buy this book, and I bought this book in particular because it comes with pattern pieces for all of the patterns, which is really helpful for someone like myself who's new to sewing, to have pattern pieces to follow is a really useful thing. But shortly after I got it, and I just got a sewing machine as well, this was about, I'd say about 5 years ago. I just bought my sewing machine, I bought this book, was ready and raring to go, and then I realised that the patterns given in this book would not fit me, that I was too large. And that was a bit of a wake-up call for me, because I'd known that I'd been putting on weight, but I hadn't really realised to what extent until this point. And that was sort of where my weight loss journey started. So at that time, or over the next sort of 3 years after that, I lost 3 stone in weight. I have put a little bit back on, so just sort of thinking about this video today and what I want to talk about and thinking about this book is, again, I need to go through a little bit of a weight loss thing again, just for the sake of my own health and my sanity. Like, I don't have a healthy relationship with food all the time, and I know that I'm in a spiral again at the moment of comfort eating, which is when I tend to put on the weight. So this book is special to me for that reason, because it kick-started a bit of a weight loss journey, and I was really proud of myself. And my intention was, when I lost weight, I'd start making these patterns as my reward. And then I moved house, and I now don't have my sewing machine set up. So again, this is a bit of an incentive for me to finish sorting out my spare room, this room, my book room. You can't tell, but it's a lot clearer than it was a couple of days ago. I've still got a little bit of work to do, because I bought, basically, when I moved into this house, I had to move all of my stuff from storage and that I'd accumulated over the years, and like a lot of stuff that was still stored in my parents' house, and they were just like, now you got your own place, it all needs to be gone. So it's taken me a while to sort through a lot of the stuff that has been in boxes for years and work out whether I actually want it or not. But I'm getting there, and when that's done, I'll be able to set on my sewing machine and have one corner of this room will be craft room, and then I've got my little reading nook in here as well. And once that's done, I'll get my sewing machine set up, and I'll start actually trying to make some of these clothes. So that's that one. The next book that I'm going to talk about is a knitting one. This is really heavy, so I'm not going to hold it up for very long. This is the knitting book produced by Doyle and Kindersley. So they produce a lot of non-fiction books in the UK, some aimed at children, but some sort of more broader ranging. So this is sort of one of the more broader ranging ones. It has a few knitting patterns in it, but not very many, but I use it more for, it's got lots of techniques in there and lots of, I can find it, it's got a stitch library of how to do different types of stitches and things, which is really useful. Different types of casting on and off, and some really lovely pictures. So this one is really useful for me as I've, oh here we go, here's some of the stitch patterns. As I've sort of got a bit more confident with my knitting and I'm trying out more of my own patterns, which I do occasionally. This has got good instructions on different types of stitches you can use to produce different effects and what they look like. And it's a bit of an encyclopedia really. It's got loads of different advice, how to introduce beading. It's a good reference book to come back to. Entrelac, I love Entrelac. It's got all of the information in one place. It's really heavy, so I'm going to put it down now. But I really recommend this for someone who, if you're starting out in knitting, it's got all the basics in there. If you're a little bit more advanced and you want to start thinking about making your own patterns, or you want to do learn some more advanced techniques and advanced stitches, this is a really, really good book to get. So the RRP is £25, but you can probably find it cheaper places. But I'd say if you're interested in learning more about knitting, this is a really worthwhile purchase. And then the last two books are both knitting ones as well. So the next one, this is my favourite toy knitting book. This is called Knitted Wild Animals. I got the second hand, but I just really love, it's just adorable, the pictures, how cute these toys are. So I have made a couple of things from this. I've used the tiger pattern to make a cat, and I'll put a picture in if I can find it. And at the moment I'm making a penguin, which I'm nearly finished. So this is what the penguin is going to look like, and if I finish making it before I edit it, I'll put the picture in here of what my finished one actually looks like. I love making toys. Toys are one of my favourite things to knit, and often if I've got friends that are having children, I would like to make them a toy as a gift, and it always goes down really well when I do that. So I was really excited to pick this book up second hand, because it's got some really lovely patterns, and actually I was worried that they'd be quite complicated, but they're not. Look how cute the hippo is. I just think it's just a really adorable book, so I'm looking forward to making more stuff out of here in the future, but I have, as I say, I have already made a couple of things out of this. And then finally, this probably is my favourite craft book because it's the one that got me back into crafts, got me into knitting. So this one's actually in French. It's called Création pour toute l'année. Apologies for my French accent, I'm really out of practice. So when I was first an undergraduate, I studied French and music at university for my undergraduate degree. Okay, so the summer before I started uni, I went to Croatia on a volunteering trip, and one of the things that we did was a craft club. And that was a mixture. Some of it was with children from the village we were working in, and some of it was with older women. So part of what we were doing was knitting and crochet. That's actually where I learnt to crochet. And I learnt to knit when I was a child, but I hadn't done it for years and years. So that sort of reawakened the knitting ability in me, I would guess. And then shortly after that, my parents went on holiday to France. They saw this book. Knowing that I was trying to get back into knitting, they picked it up for me, and knowing that I was going off to uni to study French. So my first year of uni, I retaught myself to knit using this book, and I made a couple of the simpler patterns to start with. So this was going back a few years, so if I can find pictures of the things I made, I will stick them in. So I made this bag for a friend for a Christmas present, and I have since made one for myself, although the strap broke, so I need to fix that, and it's just sort of in my pile of things that I have to fix. And that was really good. It taught me a couple of techniques that I hadn't used before, and I learnt to do them in French as well, which was quite helpful. Oh, I made this scarf as well. More recently, when my mum had a slightly significant birthday, and I knew that she'd really liked this, I made her this bag. So if I can find the pictures of those things, I will stick them in here as well, so you can see my finished versions. This is a special book for me because this got me back into crafting. This got me back into knitting particularly. One of the reasons why I got back into crafting was my first year of uni. I realised I was snacking a lot. It's going back to the whole weight loss thing. And so one of the reasons why I like knitting or crafting, crochet, or even sometimes doing jigsaw puzzles while I'm watching TV generally, because it stops me from eating. So I'm a fidgeter. I always have been. My brother's the same actually as well. His fidgeting tends to be more destructive than mine, so the number of remote controls in my parents' house that were missing the battery casing, or were even actually missing buttons, because he would sit there and pick at the buttons and actually sometimes accidentally pull the buttons off. So we both have this bad habit of that we can't sit still. And so for me, it used to be when I was a teenager, I would just snack. I would eat sweets and crisps and chocolate, and I would just be constantly eating while I was watching TV. And so when I started uni and I started getting back into knitting, that was as an alternative to snacking, and it's something that has really worked for me over the years, that instead of sitting there stuffing my face, I'll make something instead and I'll produce something. So that's really why I really enjoy crafting, and why particularly this book is very special to me, because it came at a time when I needed a bit of an incentive to get back into it, and this was a really helpful book for me. And I was practicing my French as well, so it made me even more pleased with it. So I hope you liked that. I know it's a little bit different to what I usually talk about. If you did like it, let me know. Let me know if you do any crafting and what crafting books you recommend, because I'm always looking for more crafty things to do. If you want to see more of this type of video, let me know that as well, because I quite enjoy talking about different things. So I think this could be a really fun series to introduce some different bookish things than the sort of the run-of-the-mill things that I usually talk about. Yeah, so just have a chat to me down in the comments if you'd like to see more of this type of content, or if you enjoy crafting, what sort of things you made. If you have like a Pinterest or a blog or anything where you post pictures of things that you made, let me know that too, because I love seeing what other people create, and I find it really inspiring to give me ideas as well. If you want to know more about some of the things that I've made, let me know that too, because in a bit of a departure from BookTube, I could do a little video about some of the different things that I've made over the years. Yeah, so that's it for today. Please like this video if you liked it. Please subscribe if you haven't. You can follow me on my social media. Those links are always listed down in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I will talk to you again soon.